Now let's go over some of the latest home buying trends that we're seeing happen out there right now, because the current market conditions have been having a significant impact on what consumers want out of the housing market. Okay, in fact, there was a national survey from the America at Home study where they surveyed about 16,000 people, and they found out that people are willing to make some serious trade-offs right now to be able to buy a house. In fact, 40% of people would be willing to buy a smaller home right now just to be able to get into being a homeowner. 33% said they would give up a garage or have no garage at all if necessary. 25% said they would accept smaller room sizes. 50% would be interested in the rent-to-own situation. And then 32% of people said they would be willing to buy a modular or manufactured home. So you can see that the demand and the appetite for home ownership is still out there and alive and well in America, because people are willing to make some of these sacrifices to make it happen. But here's the truth. Even with all of those sacrifices, people still cannot afford to buy. That's the reality of the situation, and that's why home sales are sitting at 30-year lows right now. You can only make so many sacrifices before you're buying a house that you completely don't actually want just to be able to become a homeowner. Whether it's in the wrong location, the wrong school district, it's not big enough, whatever it might be. That's why so many people also have home buyer's remorse right now. And you're seeing so many folks who bought in 2021 and 2022, even 2023, selling their homes already just a few years later for a multitude of different reasons. Unaffordability is one of them. And the problem is, most of America's housing stock is not fitting the criteria that I just went over with you guys. And actually, part of the reason that people are willing to accept a smaller space right now is, according to the survey, 64% of the people said they are now smaller households made up of only one or two person households, and they are finding that they can make do with less space instead, so they're prioritizing flexible, multi-use spaces that support wellness rather than just the big house that I can't afford. Also, similar to the Gen Z buyers, which I'm sure a lot of these people in this survey are Gen Z, they are craving more amenities than anything right now. 54% of people said they want access to nature for outdoor activities. Look at me right now. I'm out here. I'm always making these videos outside, guys. I absolutely love coming for these walks, especially on sunny days like this when it's like 71 degrees out here and perfect. I live for this stuff. They also want walkability to coffee shops and restaurants. 48% said they want access to trails. People actually want to go hiking and have nature trails. 45% said they want to have small neighborhood parks with shade. So a lot of today's home buyers are willing to trade the size of the home in exchange for, space and experience and community connection, which I think is actually a really good thing. I think younger Americans are actually starting to go back to our roots. Look at all of the homes that were built. Like I've shown you guys many houses. In fact, a lot of these houses I'm walking past right here are probably a great example of this. These are all relatively small houses, 1,500 square feet or even less sometimes. And they were all built, in the middle of the 1900s. We're talking 1940s, 50s, 60s. That's pretty much the era all these houses were built in. We didn't build giant houses back then. You can see they also all have this similar type of architecture. They look kind of the same. And people who originally bought these homes probably had that same thinking in mind back when these homes only used to cost $70,000 or $100,000. It was like, yeah, this is great. This is close to parks. This is close to hiking. You got the mountain right over here with hiking trails. It's not far away from restaurants and my kids' school. This is perfect. But then once the secret is out and the area is very desirable, like here, especially because of the weather, then the prices go absolutely bonkers. And that's why young people are moving away from this nonsense and saying, you know what, we're going to start over. We're going to find a new community somewhere else where it is affordable, and we're just going to forge on from there. And I think that's great and very respectable that all these young people are doing this. Now, one other thing I want to talk about is how 1 in 3 homes were actually bought with cash in 2025. According to Realtor.com, nationwide, about 32.8% of home sales in the first half of 2025 were all cash transactions. And that's a little bit down from last year, but it's still above the pre-pandemic norms when it used to average only 28.6% of sales. Here's why this is important. Not because you have the money to pay cash for a house or that you should pay cash for a house. The reason why this is important is so that way you can understand why the median home price that you keep seeing is still kind of going up. Because people who have this cash typically buy very expensive homes, north of $500,000, north of $1 million. And in fact, more than half of the home sales, according to the National Association of Realtors, have been in that $500,000 or $1 million category of the homes that are being sold right now. So when you have a concentration of so many homes being sold in that category, naturally it's going to raise the median home price. And that gives the illusion that home prices are going up everywhere, but that could not be further from the truth. Cash buyers also drive up the very low end of the market as well, because 2/3 of homes under $100,000 and more than 40% of homes over $1 million were bought with cash, and 50% of the houses above $2 million sold for cash, guys. So that makes my case. That shows you that the reason why home prices appear to still be going up is because the very affordable homes get wiped out from cash buyers and the very high-end homes get sold to cash buyers, which gives the illusion that prices across the board are going up. And if you're in cities like Miami, 43% of homes are being sold for cash right now in 2025. This is the top metro in the country, guys, and probably has been for a long time. As you know, I live in Miami, and cash buyers have been a thing there really ever since the housing crash began. People poured into Miami with cash from all over the world, and they still are, just not at the same level that they were back then. And cash buyers dominate almost half of the market there. San Antonio, Texas isn't far behind. 39.5% of people are buying homes there with cash. Kansas City, Kansas, actually, 39% of home sales are cash. Birmingham, Alabama, almost 39% of sales are cash. Houston, Texas is almost 39%, and St. Louis is 38%. So if you live in any of those markets and you wonder why you have a hard time competing or being able to afford a home, well, there's your answer. The cash buyers heavily overinflate the values in any given area. Because when people can afford to pay cash, they can also afford to pay more than what the house would naturally appraise for. They don't really care. They just see the house, they want it for whatever reason, and they're willing to fork over the dough to get it. But I just want people to kind of zoom out and look at the big picture. The big picture is that home sales are at 30-year lows, regardless of what's going on with cash purchases, regardless of what the median home price says. And things are really moving towards a buyer's market right now in the majority of the country. And that is good news for anybody out there who has been patiently waiting to become a homeowner over the past few years. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and make sure you subscribe to my second Clips channel, which I have a link for down below in case you like shorter videos. And if you don't want to wait for my next video to come out, check out this one on the screen right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.